Today we are going to begin factoring. We're actually going to start with factoring out a greatest common factor. So target 7.4 is I can factor using the greatest common factor. There are 4 steps we're going to follow to do this. First, we're going to determine the GCF of all the terms like we did in your homework from Friday. Remember to pay attention to both the numbers and the variables. Then we're going to write the GCF down with a parenthesis after it. We're going to divide every term in the original problem by the GCF and write the answer in the parentheses. And then we're going to check by distributing. So we are going to start out with 2 terms here. We need to decide what can we divide both 63 and 56 by. And I know that I can divide both of those by 7. We also need to look to see if there are variables in both terms. Since there are not, 7 is our GCF. So I have my 7 written down, and I'm going to start my parentheses. To decide what's left in my parentheses, I need to divide 63 by 7, which gives me my 9. And then my x squared is just going to stay where it's at since we didn't factor any x's out. Then negative 56 divided by 7 is negative 8, and I can end my parentheses. So this should be my factored form. I can check it by distributing, so I'm just going to bring this down here to check. If I distribute, 7 times 9 is 63, now I have my x squared, and 7 times negative 8 is negative 56. That is what I began with. So this here is my factored form. You'll notice that factoring a GCF is just undistributing. Let's do another problem here. For the next one, I look at my coefficients, and I know that I can divide both 5 and 30 by 5. So I'm going to write that down. And then I'm going to look at my variables, and just like on Friday, since I have v's in both terms, I need to look at the smallest exponent, which is 2 here. So I'm going to put a v squared out as part of my GCF. Okay, so I can divide both of the numbers by 5. Smallest exponent on the v's is a 2, so I'm going to take out a v squared. Then I'm going to divide. 5 divided by 5 gives me 1. If I had 4 v's here, but I took 2 of them out, that means I have 2 left. So I have v squared left. And negative 30 divided by 5 is negative 6. If I had 2 v's and I took 2 v's out, that means I don't have any v's left. So I'm not going to put a v next to that 6. This is my final answer. Let's check it. So 5v squared times 1v squared minus 6. If I distribute, I get 5v to the 4th minus 30v squared. Okay, that's what we started with. So again, this is our final answer. Let's go ahead and do 2 more. Notice in these 2 problems we actually have 3 terms. So when I'm looking at this first problem, negative 20m squared minus 10m minus 20, I know that I can divide all 3 of those numbers by 10. Now, one other thing I notice here that doesn't happen very often is all 3 of those have negatives, so I'm actually going to divide by negative 10. I would not mark it wrong if you did not divide by negative 10, as long as you have a positive 10 out there. Also look at the variables. Okay, first 2 both have m's, the last one does not, so I cannot use an m because all 3 terms do not have an m. So negative 20 divided by 10, negative 10 is 2. We didn't do anything with those m's. Negative 10 divided by negative 10 is positive 1. Again, we didn't do anything with the m, so it stays there. And negative 20 divided by negative 10 is positive 2. Okay, so this should be my final answer. But if we wanted to check, negative 10 times 2m squared plus 1m plus 2 distribute. Negative 10 times 2 is negative 20. Negative 10 times 1 is negative 10. And negative 10 times 2 is negative 20. So this answer here matches my original answer. So we're good. Okay, the last problem we're going to do together. Over here, I have an 8, a 40, and an 8. And I know I can divide all of those by 8. If I look at my variables, each of those terms has a p. So I know I need to factor out a p, and to decide how many, I need to find my smallest exponent. So I have 10, 5, and 4. 4 is my smallest. So once I have my GCF, I can go ahead and divide to see what's left over. So 8 divided by 8 is 1. If I had 4 p's and I took 4 p's out, that means I don't have any p's left there. Negative 40 divided by 8 is negative 5. I had 5 p's and I took 4 out, so I have 1 left. 8 divided by 8 is 1. And I had 10 p's, but I took 4 out, so I have 6 left over. Notice that I've been putting ones in there for you. Typically, you're going to see me write this answer like this. I have to have a 1 there in that first term in the parentheses, but I don't have to put a 1 in front of the p. Final step, if you check your answers, you get 8p to the 4th minus 40p to the 3rd plus 8p to the 10th, which is what we started with. So this here is our final answer. Go ahead and try the next 4 problems. Once you are finished, have those checked and we will give you your homework. If you have any questions on the factoring problems that you saw or the guided practice problems, make sure you raise your hand and ask for help. Tomorrow we are going to go on to factor by grouping, which uses GCFs as well. So you need to make sure if you have any questions, we help you out as much as we can before you leave today. Have a great day.